I'm a Muslim
Yeah.
by religion, and my religion teaches me not to be proud.
Mm.
So I don't want to leave any legacy.
Mm.
To be honest, I feel like I keep telling myself I'm nothing. I just want to do good, be honest, be loyal to my children, my friends, my family, my clients, and to the world. Be a good guy.
Mm.
Don't be greedy. Live a simple life as a good person. Speak the truth. Be honest. And when my time comes to go, I'll go.
So welcome everyone to the show. This is Julien, Drolon, your host. Today I have the pleasure to be with Dr. Samir Asaf. He's a senior partner at Regent Financial. He raised more than $16 billion capital since the last 7 years. He was involved into some multi-billion dollar investments, and he's also a second degree black belt karate expert. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being with us today. It's a pleasure to be with you. Yesterday, I had the pleasure to also attend your speech, which was very informative. You are inspiring a lot of people to do the right choice when it comes to investment. But before we talk about your profession and what you bring on the table in terms of business, we would like to know more about you, who you are, where do you live, and of course, what are the things that you like to do when you have a bit of time, of course, when you're not taking some time with your businesses.
Sure, Julian. Thanks so much for inviting me here. It's a great pleasure to be with you.
So I can see from what you sent to me in terms of your personal information that you love sports, karate, marathon, also tennis. Which sport you are the most expert in?
I would say tennis.
Yeah, that's your man. Any favorite player? Djokovic, Nadal,
Roger Federer.
Who is the number one for you? Who is the GOAT? This is one of the conversation we're having.
To me, it's Roger Federer.
Roger Federer?
He's the GOAT.
One anecdote for you, I was able to meet Djokovic when I was working as a student, and he won a tournament in France. And at the end of the tournament, he invited me with his father to have a dinner with him.
All right.
So it was way before he was like in his 20s.
Okay.
So it was a really great memory. But since then, we never met again.
Yeah.
When it comes to choosing a sport, like what's the things that you do to decide to involve your time? Because, for example, to become a black belt of karate, it requires so much energy. What's the inspiration to be involved in this type of sports?
I think you got to like it. You got to be naturally attracted to that sport. Tennis came naturally to me. I love the game, and I was good. I was quite good, in fact, but not good enough to turn professional. So I won some tournaments and stuff. But then when I got into the professional men's circuit in tennis, I realized that these guys are so competitive and so good that I was falling short. And I said, you know what? I'm not there to be at a world top 10 or something. So then I switched to something else, and got to keep fit. If you have a sport that doesn't have a lot of physical movement, like chess, for example. It's not really a physical sport.
It's more a mind game.
It's more mental, right? Yeah. So that's why I chose karate, because it keeps you fit, and also you learn the skills. So.
But I noticed you only choose like individual sports.
Individual, yeah, you're right.
Have you ever thought about basketball, football? Why? Because it's kind of like showing a bit your personality, maybe.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You should say that, because. These are individual. I mean, the team sport like football and hockey and others, you have less control over the whole situation.
Yes,
right?
You depend on others a bit more. And,
unless you're a Maradona or a Pele, or you can take control. But
take over the game.
Take over the game. But individual sport is is, gives you the ability to control the outcome if you really put in the effort. But I've played football, I've played cricket, I've played not so much hockey, but team sport is also a lot of fun. Can be a lot of fun, right? And other than individual sport, can get very serious, and there's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Now you have 3 children, 2
Yes.
boys, 1
2
girl.
boys, 1
They are in the late. They're all approaching in their 20s, right?
20s, yeah. My eldest is my son. His name is Sahir. He is 20 years old.
Uh-huh.
Then I have my daughter, Sama. She's 19. And then my youngest is Sabir. He is 17.
What are the 3 main values that you inculcate to them when it comes to parenting, like the things as a father that you really want them to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, my first thing is to be honest and to have high level of integrity as a person. So good person. To be kind. I think honesty, kindness, very important. And then I would say the third thing is, do the right thing for yourself, for society, for the world. So like take care of yourself, be in good health, help your neighbor, help your friends, and don't be into bad things. Avoid, because the world gives you opportunities to be bad, right? And it's tough to avoid all that. That's you talking about drugs, talking about crime, talking about illegal, unethical things. To just stay away from all that is something I keep telling them, and I think they've done pretty good so far.
Yeah, you seem quite a proud father.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I am.
Now I want to talk about what we're doing now. We are in Kuala Lumpur.
Yes.
At an investor summit, the 3rd edition. That was hosted by a business summit with Dr. Heide, who is behind this whole project. Please tell us what you think about Malaysia. Like how many times you came here? Like how familiar are you with the place?
Yes.
And what are you looking for in Southeast Asia in terms of investment? And
I've been to Malaysia quite a few times. I mean, maybe 7-8 times over the last, say, 20 years. Many opportunities. I have some clients here as well. But a lot of times I have actually come here with my kids to have a break from everything.
What's your favorite spot?
So the, Sunway Lagoon.
Okay. Nice.
There's a lot of water rides, and we've had a lot of fun there. We've done a lot of shopping here. Good food, chilled out place. So this has been a good place for us. So many times I've been here. I love the country. It's very green. It's a lot of nature. It's a sort of a lot of Islamic values are here, like that. As a proud Muslim, I'm always appreciative of Islamic culture, Islamic art, and things like that. There's a beautiful mosque here in KL. Took my son for Jummah prayers.
It's quite refreshing, actually. Talking about that this morning, I was having my breakfast in Perdana Hotel, and they were putting a quote from a hadith that don't waste food, and like it's a good feeling, like when you won't expect that in other part of the world, and here they sometimes take the time to put this little reminders, and it kind of keeps you grounded and help you to start the day.
Agreed. And in terms of business, well, the reason I'm here is because that's what I do. I'm an investment banker. I finance companies all around the world, in Europe, in North America, in South America, and in Asia Pac. There are companies, lots of companies. They need to raise capital, and I help them do that. So here, there are a lot of companies that have been seeking funding for their projects.
Correct.
Right? And I'm talking to them, getting an opportunity to share my ideas with them, and it's going pretty all right.
What are you looking at when some business owners come to you and they present you the pitch deck, for raising capital? What are the first criteria you're looking at, like that you can still engage with them, and what are the don'ts, the do's and the don'ts, to give some advice to people who are looking at this podcast, who wants to know how to raise capital and talk to people like you?
Yeah. Well, my first advice to people who are looking to grow their business and they need funding that they don't have to grow that business, my first advice would be, don't try to do it on your own. Seek professional help and assistance, because this is a world by its own. This investment banking. So what I would look for in companies is it a good company? Does it have a good market? Is it making money? Or if it's not making money, what is the possibility of in the future? What are the prospects? So, you have to look at quite a few things. Like, if it's a growing industry, the market is there. Like if you think about battery operated electric vehicles, right? That's a growth space.
For sure. Or AI.
Or AI, anything like that. So that, and then even like, I have a European client. I can't tell you the name, but it's a vegan food manufacturing company.
Huge market.
That's a growing market because there's this whole trend. On the other hand, if you look at companies that are, making fizzy, sugary drinks, that's not the trend, right? Because it's a healthy trend these days. So I will definitely look for the market fit. I'll also look at the business model. So that's a lot of things. That word is very loaded word. The whole thing. I mean, is it making money? And I'll look at the people. Right? Do you have a decent team? So people, process, technology, market, this whole thing. It's not just one thing. It's probably 10 or 15 elements that need to be looked at
to be qualified to be take it to the next step. Now, something you mentioned yesterday that really caught my attention is about execution. You said that the pitch deck looked good, maybe everything looked good, but there's a quite strong ratio of companies that cannot deliver. And so what are the things that you recommend? Of course, having a good team maybe is the first thing. But what are the things that advices you would give? Because this is always the challenge. You might have the best ideas, the best strategy, but execution is key.
It's key.
And it's key not only in business, in sport. You might have the best players. Like right now with Real Madrid, they have the best player, but when it comes to execution, they are at the moment struggling, although it's my favorite team. But what are the advice you can give, to the business owner to make sure they can deliver a bit better on that part?
So that's a very, very good question. Firstly, I would say the first thing that business owners and business leaders need to understand is that employee engagement is going to be a key thing. Because in the old days, what used to happen is these top executives would come up with the strategy, with the goal. We are going to double our revenue in 3 years and stuff. And then they would pass on the work to the mid-level management and junior management, right? Okay, this is the goal, we have set it, now you go do it. And they never got done because the mid-level and junior management, they said, well, we were not part of the strategy making. We were not part of the decision making. So we are not engaged.
The buy-in is not so strong.
The buy-in is not there. So the key, to answer your question, is to improve the probability of success that you will execute well, is to involve mid and junior management in the strategy making process. So get their buy-in from early on. That way you will often find that the strategy, in fact, will be more robust, grounded in reality. You will understand the execution challenges by talking to them. So don't set your strategy by going off-site and just building the strategy without connecting with everybody. So
for sure,
you have a head of sales, include that guy and that team in the strategy session, so that when you are planning doubling your revenue, he's the head of sales or she's the head of sales. They need to be on board. So your strategy will be more grounded in reality when you are fully engaged. You're engaged. That's employee engagement at all levels: customer service, product quality management, manufacturing, service delivery, pricing strategy, very important. And then, all the other execution means project management, initiatives. Who's going to be the project manager? All right. And then the stakeholders. So basically, the new way of doing things that has proven to be more successful than the past is to engage people who will be involved in the execution of the strategy. So involve them when you develop their strategy, and then they own it. Right? You've taken the input. And then the second thing is test the market, or instead of just going and implementing a new strategy, try it out in a beta testing, in a small market. Try it out. You want to raise prices by 10%? Fine. Then instead of going global with 10% price increase, try it out in a small territory for 3 months and see how the market responds. It's this kind of the idea of sense and respond. Try it out. If it works, then go general availability. So these are the two advice I would give to all business leaders.
Now, talking about a particular sector, you are involved in many sectors: healthcare, real estate. What is the sector you're paying attention for 2025? The sector that you think, of course, AI is booming. A lot of things happening in that spectrum. Of course, sustainability, the whole green economy. But in your firm and with your partner, is there any particular sector that you think is going to be very, very sexy for 2025 in terms of investment and ROI?
There are some sectors, yes. If you look at the Goldman Sachs latest report, just came out day before yesterday on global outlook, GDP growth outlook. They're saying that the global economy is going to grow at 2.7% next year, and then following year 2.6%. So they're seeing kind of a stabilization, but India and China are leading the growth. Europe pretty flat, US pretty flat, but it's the driver is Asia Pacific region, and that's the reason.
This is where we are here.
This is where we are. The growth over the next 3 to 4 years is going to come from here, this ASEAN region, and China. So basically, in terms of sectors for 2025, it's not, in general, you can pick a few sectors like, I think we discussed anything that's AI driven is good and hot, but what's happening is everybody's adopting AI these days, right? There's no sector that is not using AI to improve productivity. I would say real estate seems to be coming back. Real estate, but then it's geography specific, right? In the US, the real estate dynamics different from Europe versus Asia Pac. So it's not one sector that's overall, I would say, top pick. Geography specific, government.
Which region in real estate, if you don't mind me asking, you think is, because I just came back from Turkey yesterday, and I was told by some of the experts that it's going down in Turkey, for example, at the moment. Which region you think that it would be a good bet for investment in real estate, for example?
For example, India.
India?
Yeah, India. The economy is growing at 6 to 7% a year. Massive infrastructure development potential and opportunity. And it's the fastest growing economy among the large economies, right? I would say developing countries in general that need infrastructure and also housing, and the purchasing power is increasing, and then middle class is growing, and they want to move and own their own homes from renting to owning. So that shift is happening. So developing countries are primary, I would say, growth space in general for real estate.
How bullish are you about Africa? Because yesterday we were talking about where is going to be the next business summit.
Yes.
And I think Kenya won. In terms of who was supporting this country. Nigeria was also in the picture. South Africa as well.
Yes.
How are you looking at Africa in terms of investment? Because one of the things that Dr. Heide was trying to do is he's been doing a lot of investment in Africa.
Yes.
What type of what view do you have about this continent in terms of investments?
Yeah, I mean, there's a positive side of it, and there's a kind of a negative side of it. I think, to be honest, if you look at the capital market in Africa, it is the most underdeveloped in the world. Right, in terms of size of the stock market, for example, is totally insignificant percentage of GDP.
Yeah.
And that is something the African governments need to look into. How can they deepen the capital market, the money market and the capital market? But that's the negative side of it, because the companies in Africa don't have access or the ability to raise a large amount of capital through an IPO in the local stock exchange. So, for example, if a Kenyan company wants to raise $300, $400, $500 million, they can't go to the stock market and raise $500 million. It's just not big enough. You understand? So the overall market capitalization of pretty much all of the African countries are really small. Now, there is a big reason for that, because that's a regulatory issue, low savings, and their government needs to facilitate capital formation. So given that you have that lack of ability to raise domestic capital through the capital market, they are relegated to the banking market. I mean, the money market and the banks, because they don't have very little access to IPO, right? Now, if you look at the banks, banks are not going to give you $500 million. Banks don't do equity financing. Banks do debt financing.
Yeah.
And debt, they're going to look at your balance sheet and say, hey, your balance sheet is only $50 million asset, $10 million liability. We're not going to give you $500 million. So that's how the companies are stuck. They can't grow. They need money from outside. That's where we come in. And yes, I'm definitely bullish on growth in Africa, because that is a region full of resources.
Yeah.
There is plenty of opportunity for growth and investment. Now, government has to make it easy, business friendly. We talk about business climate. I was with the International Finance Corporation. I was senior advisor there. We look at countries, and along with the World Bank, we do rating of countries in terms of business climate. How sort of corruption should be low, ease of business should be high, and the supply chain should be efficient. There are a lot of lackings in Africa in terms of the infrastructure connectivity.
Service,
So the potential is there, especially in oil and gas and energy, because they have the resources.
For sure.
The potential is there, and investors. I mean, we are connected to the largest investors around the world.
Yeah.
So we can definitely work with companies in Africa and governments in Africa, and then connect them and present them as a very attractive investment destination, and present them to European and North American investors. And remember, I said that US represents 60% of global capital market, so plenty of investable money is there. So we just have to show them, here is a great project, here's a great return on the project, you can invest here, and we have to lower their risk. Because one of the problems with that region, Africa, is this perception.
Yeah, of taking a risk.
People are scared. People are like, I don't know if I'm going to put in so many $1 million. Am I going to get it back? Is the government policy supportive of repatriation of capital?
Yes.
And those are all the things that African governments need to enhance.
Let's talk about the good ones, like the countries that you think, because I mean, Africa is a huge continent. What are the countries that you think are on the right track to provide that type of safety net somehow for global investors?
Yeah, I mean, in the continent, I mean, South Africa obviously is probably on the leading edge. Nigeria is big, but the issue is, the first thing is country credit rating. So S&P, Moody's, and Fitch, they do country sovereign ratings, right? So I don't think there's any country in Africa that has a A or above, or investment grade or triple B or above, that is investment grade credit rating. So then we have a problem, because then it's a non-investment grade, and that lot of investors don't want to invest in non-investment grade countries. So first thing is that economies in Africa need to strengthen themselves so that they can enhance their sovereign rating. That is one thing that's going to help you bring in a lot of capital, right? So the risk, country risk, is the thing. In terms of picking countries, I would say, Nigeria there's a lot of oil and gas over there.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the mineral resources that will pull in a lot of potential investors into these countries, and government policy should be supportive. And then, there are a lot of countries that are, economically challenged. Right.
And we have to say also, corruption is still,
corruption is
we can't avoid to talk about that. Like, there are a lot of efforts to be done.
And a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, we hope that by the time we get there next year, things will be, of course, very attractive for investors. Final question is about your legacy as a businessman. What are you looking for when it comes to being reminded for all the investment you've been helping? Like, what do you want to leave behind when it comes to your own legacy?
That's a tough question, actually.
It makes you think. It makes you think, right? That's why we're
I'm a Muslim by religion, and my religion teaches me not to be proud. So I don't want to leave any legacy, to be honest. I feel like I keep telling myself I'm nothing. So that's it. I don't want to leave any legacy. I just want to do good, be honest, be loyal to my children, my friends, my family, my clients, and to the world. Be a good guy. Don't be greedy. Be honest, and live a simple life. And I don't need to leave a legacy. I just want to live my life as a good person, speak the truth, be honest, and when my time comes to go, I'll go.
Like all of us. Thank you, Dr. Samir Asaf, for your time. Looking forward to see you next year in Africa.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.